Welcome back to Grim Histories, the channel that delves into the darkest corners of the past. Tonight, we're plunging into a story so chilling, so utterly unbelievable, it will leave you questioning the very nature of good and evil. Prepare yourselves, because we're about to unravel the terrifying tale of Gilles de Rais. He was a man of immense stature, both physically and socially. He participated in pivotal battles, earning accolades and bolstering his reputation as a valiant warrior. But what happened after Joan's capture and execution? The records paint a disturbing picture of a man increasingly obsessed with the occult. Imagine the chilling silence that now hangs heavy in the air, punctuated only by the whispers of the wind, rustling through the ancient trees surrounding those ominous walls. That's what we'll explore in the next part of our grim journey. Prepare yourselves, for the details are far more horrifying than you can possibly imagine. The history books don't just tell us about his crimes. They hint at a chilling descent into madness, a slow, deliberate unraveling of a man once considered a pillar of society. We're talking grimoires summoning demons, dark rituals performed under the cloak of night within the walls of his magnificent castles, the air thick with the scent of incense and fear, the whispers of dark magic and unspeakable acts. These are not the tales of a hero, but of a man consumed by a darkness that defied even the most devout faith of the Middle Ages. We're talking about a man who traded his sword for a more sinister instrument, a man who traded the battlefield for a far more terrifying arena. What shifted within the heart of this seemingly invincible knight? Did the horrors of war irrevocably scar his soul, planting the seeds of unimaginable evil? Or were there other, deeper, more insidious forces at play? His lineage traced back to some of the most powerful families in Brittany, a region shrouded in mist and legend, a land of ancient forests and imposing castles. He commanded armies, wielded influence at the highest levels of French society, and his wealth was almost unimaginable. Yet, behind the glittering facade of chivalry and noble birth lurked a darkness so profound it would eventually consume him. A man who fought alongside Joan of Arc, a champion of France, and a serial killer of unimaginable depravity. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single chilling detail. Imagine, if you will, the year 1440. France, still reeling from the 100 Years' War, is slowly piecing itself back together. Amidst the chaos and uncertainty, a name rises to prominence: Gilles de Rais. A nobleman of immense wealth and power, a marshal in the French army, and a close companion to none other than the Maid of Orleans herself, Joan of Arc. He was a hero, a legend, a man lauded for his courage and military prowess. Can you believe it? This same man would become infamous for something far more sinister. Something so horrific it would forever stain his name and haunt the annals of history. Gilles de Rais, the name itself whispers of a dark paradox. He fought alongside Joan of Arc, witnessing firsthand the brutality and savagery of war. The transition is jarring, almost incomprehensible, from valiant knight to something else entirely. Think of the castles of Tafages and the Shekel, grand and imposing structures that once echoed with the sounds of feasting and revelry, now steeped in the shadows of unspeakable crimes. But what were these crimes exactly? What unspeakable acts led to Gilles de Rais's downfall? That's what we'll explore in the next part of our grim journey. Prepare yourselves, for the details are far more horrifying than you can possibly imagine. So, we've established that Gilles de Rais, a man who fought alongside Joan of Arc, a national heroine, later became accused of unspeakable horrors. But what could possibly drive a nobleman, a war hero, to such depravity? The line between faith and superstition was blurred. The fear of demons and the allure of forbidden knowledge were palpable. Gilles, despite his position, felt a profound lack of control in his life. The rigid structures of feudal society, the expectations placed upon him, the very limitations of his own mortality, these all fueled his descent into madness. Through the horrific acts he committed, he exerted a terrifying, twisted form of control over the innocent children who fell victim to his depravity. He was a puppet master, pulling the strings of life and death, convinced he could manipulate the very fabric of reality itself. Gilles, in his vast wealth, indulged in these darker aspects of his time. The opulent castles, the glittering armor, the high social standing, all of this was just a facade. a mask concealing a monstrous heart consumed by darkness and fueled by a desperate search for something beyond the grasp of mortal men. He was fascinated by alchemy, a pursuit that promised power and immortality through manipulating the elements and, some believed, conjuring demons. Imagine the scene, the flickering candlelight in a dimly lit chamber, filled with arcane symbols and the pungent smell of strange concoctions. Gilles, surrounded by his cabal of sorcerers and necromancers, chanting incantations, desperately seeking power beyond the mortal realm. These weren't just idle experiments. They were a desperate attempt to escape the crushing weight of his responsibilities, to find something more, something beyond the rigid confines of his aristocratic life. His obsession with the occult wasn't just a personal indulgence. It became deeply intertwined with his horrific crimes. The accounts suggest that the ritualistic abuse and murder of children were linked to his alchemical pursuits. Some theories propose that he believed the blood of innocent children held magical properties, a grotesque ingredient in his quest for forbidden knowledge and power. Can you even begin to imagine the chilling implications of such a belief? The sheer audacity, the depravity? It's almost too much to comprehend. The answer, my friends, lies not solely in inherent evil, but in a complex tapestry of factors woven from the very fabric of medieval society, a society steeped in both piety and superstition, power and vulnerability. Let's delve into the world of Gilles, a world far removed from the battlefield, a world shrouded in the shadows of his opulent castles. He inherited immense wealth and power, but this legacy became a poisoned chalice. The weight of expectation, the pressure to uphold his family name, it was a crushing burden. He was, after all, a Marshal of France, a title that demanded unwavering strength and flawless reputation. Yet beneath the polished surface of aristocratic life, a darkness brewed. This wasn't simply a case of unchecked lust. There was a disturbing element of the occult woven into the fabric of his crimes. Remember, this was the 15th century. This wasn't just about power. It was also about control. The sheer scale of his crimes, the calculated nature of his actions, speaks to a mind deeply disturbed, a man lost in a labyrinth of his own making. The opulent castles, the glittering armor, the high social standing, all of this was just a facade, a mask concealing a monstrous heart consumed by darkness and fueled by a desperate search for something beyond the grasp of mortal men. The whispers started subtly, like the rustling of leaves in a Breton forest on a windless night. At first, just missing children. A stray boy here, a young girl there, vanishing from the villages surrounding Gilles de Race's imposing castle of Machecoul. But as the disappearances became more frequent, a chilling dread began to settle over the land, a dread as thick and suffocating as the fog that often rolled in from the Atlantic. These weren't simple disappearances. These were the chilling preludes to a nightmare. The official records speak of hundreds of victims, mostly boys and girls between the ages of 6 and 18. But many believe the true number is far higher, lost to the mists of time and the deliberate obfuscation of Gilles's powerful allies. Gilles de Race, the valiant knight, the man who had fought alongside Joan of Arc, the man who had once commanded armies, was now revealed to be a monster, a serial killer of unimaginable depravity. His castle, once a symbol of power, became a monument to his depravity. The sheer scale of his crimes, the systematic nature of his cruelty, the chilling details unearthed during the investigation, all pointed to a man consumed by an evil so profound, so absolute, that it still chills us to this day. The truth, when it finally emerged, was far more horrific than anyone could have possibly imagined. The details of the crimes are so horrifying, so utterly beyond the pale, that even recounting them now sends a chill down the spine. They involved ritualistic torture, sexual abuse, and ultimately, brutal murder. The sheer scale of the depravity is almost impossible to comprehend. The castle, once a symbol of power, became a charnel house, a monument to the darkest depths of human cruelty. Machecoul, a fortress of imposing grandeur, became a place of whispered terror. They found evidence of elaborate rituals, hinting at Gilles's descent into black magic and his obsession with the occult. The sheer methodical nature of the crimes suggests a chilling level of planning and premeditation. a calculated cruelty that points to a mind warped beyond recognition. The accounts describe a scene of unimaginable horror, a deliberate and systematic extermination of innocent children. Its stone walls, once symbols of power and prestige, now seem to hum with a sinister energy. Gilles, the once celebrated war hero, the companion of Joan of Arc, was transforming into something far more sinister. The investigators, armed with royal warrants and the grim determination to uncover the truth, found themselves facing a scene of unspeakable depravity. Hidden chambers, meticulously concealed behind false walls and secret passages, revealed a macabre collection of artifacts, children's clothing, scattered bones, and disturbingly detailed drawings that hint at the unspeakable acts committed within those walls. The lavish feasts, the opulent court, the constant stream of visitors all became a grotesque fada hiding a horrifying truth. Can you imagine the scene? The castle, vast and imposing, a labyrinth of echoing corridors and shadowy chambers. The flickering candlelight casts long, dancing shadows that twist and writhe, mimicking the grotesque figures of the nightmares that must have haunted the castle's inhabitants. The air hangs heavy with the scent of incense, attempting to mask the far more pungent and disturbing smells that permeated the stone walls. The screams. Those are the sounds that truly paint the picture, though they were mostly silenced by the thick stone and the ever-present fear. The investigation, when it finally began, unearthed a horror beyond imagination. One could only speculate on the sheer scale of the atrocities. The investigators discovered tools of torture, crude but effective instruments designed to inflict unimaginable pain. The whispers turned to screams. The fear turned to outrage. Gilles de Rais, the valiant knight, the man who had fought alongside Joan of Arc, the man who had once commanded armies, was now revealed to be a monster, a serial killer of unimaginable depravity. His castle, once a symbol of power, became a monument to his depravity. The sheer scale of his crimes, the systematic nature of his cruelty, the chilling details unearthed during the investigation, all pointed to a man consumed by an evil so profound, so absolute that it still chills us to this day. The truth, when it finally emerged, was far more horrific than anyone could have possibly imagined. The year is 1440, the air hangs heavy with the scent of wood smoke and fear. Gilles de Rais, once a celebrated warrior, a companion of Joan of Arc herself, now sits shackled in a Nantes courtroom, a chilling parody of his former glory. The air crackles with a palpable tension, a morbid curiosity mingling with genuine horror. Gilles, once a figure of imposing stature, is now a shadow of his former self, his eyes hollow, his demeanor a mixture of defiance and chilling resignation. He's dressed in simple clothes, a stark contrast to the opulent attire he once sported. The concept of mass hysteria was not understood as it is today. The Church, ever vigilant against heresy, readily saw the hand of Satan in Gilles's actions. His wealth, his past association with Joan of Arc, and his increasingly eccentric behavior all contributed to a narrative that was hard to challenge. The opulent trappings of his past life feel like a cruel joke now. Their testimonies, while supporting the prosecution's case, also contained inconsistencies and ambiguities that could be interpreted as self-serving fabrications, designed to minimize their own involvement. His trial, a grotesque spectacle, is underway. The accusations are monstrous. The systematic torture and murder of hundreds, perhaps thousands of children, and the enduring fascination with the darkest corners of the human psyche. It remains a grim reminder that even those who walk among heroes can harbor the most horrifying secrets. Were the confessions genuine accounts of unimaginable evil, or the product of a broken man, manipulated by the pressures of a superstitious and unforgiving society? Was he truly a monster or a victim of circumstance, a pawn in a larger game of power and religious fervor? The answer, shrouded in the mists of time and the shadows of medieval superstition, continues to haunt us. The sheer scale of the accusations, the unsettling inconsistencies within the testimony and confessions, and the religious fervor surrounding the trial leave us grappling with a profound and disturbing uncertainty. But was it truly the devil's work, as the prosecution so vehemently claimed, or something far more complicated? The courtroom is a miasma of hushed whispers and fervent prayers. The prosecution, fueled by religious fervor and the desire to make an example of the fallen nobleman, paints a picture of unimaginable depravity. They reel off a list of ghastly details, each revelation more horrifying than the last: kidnappings, ritualistic torture, the invocation of demons, the desecration of innocent bodies. Was Gilles, a man accustomed to power and influence, simply broken under the relentless pressure of torture and the Church's unwavering condemnation? His initial denials shattered under the weight of the accusations, and subsequently he confessed. He detailed his crimes with an almost unnatural calmness, a chilling detachment that sent shivers down the spines of even the most hardened spectators. However, the details themselves are often contradictory, inconsistent, and seemingly embellished under duress. The very nature of the confessions raises questions. They claim Gilles, under the sway of dark magic and his accomplices, had committed unspeakable acts fueled by a perverse lust for power and a thirst for the occult. They even present evidence of a pact with the devil himself. But even amidst the grotesque testimony, doubt lingers. Were these confessions coerced? Remember the medieval mindset? The line between reality and superstition was often blurred. Several of Gilles's accomplices, initially less powerful, also confessed to participating in the crimes, eager to appease the court and save their own necks. So what truly happened within the walls of Gilles's castles? The trial of Gilles de Rais stands as a chilling testament to the complexities of justice, the power of religious dogma, and the enduring fascination with the darkest corners of the human psyche. It remains a grim reminder that even those who walk among heroes can harbor the most horrifying secrets. So Gilles de Rais, Marshal of France, companion to Joan of Arc, and a prolific child murderer. The sheer audacity of it all still chills me to the bone. His trial, his confession, his execution, all shrouded in a miasma of medieval superstition, political maneuvering, and genuine, horrifying evil. But even after centuries, the full truth of Gilles de Rais remains elusive, a shadowy figure lurking in the mists of history. Was he truly the monster depicted in the records, or was there more to the story than met the eye? Gilles de Rais, the noble knight, the war hero, transformed into a depraved killer. It's a legacy of ambiguity, a haunting reminder of the limitations of historical record, the fallibility of justice, and the enduring power of human darkness. His story continues to resonate because it forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the past and the complexities of human nature. He remains a chilling reminder that the lines between hero and villain, saint and devil, can be blurred and sometimes utterly erased. The true extent of his crimes may never be fully known, leaving us with a lingering sense of unease, a chilling mystery that echoes through the centuries. The ghost of Gilles de Rais, the real Bluebeard, still haunts the edges of history, a testament to the enduring power of evil. The juxtaposition is jarring, unsettling, almost darkly comedic in its absurdity. It's a testament to the human capacity for both incredible heroism and unimaginable evil, a stark reminder that even the most outwardly impressive figures can harbor the darkest of secrets. The official narrative paints a picture of unrestrained depravity. The accounts speak of dozens of children lured to his castle at Machecoul with promises of sweets and toys, only to be subjected to unspeakable horrors. Some historians argue that the numbers were exaggerated, a product of the zealous inquisitors eager to secure a high-profile conviction. The sheer scale of the alleged crimes, the lack of physical evidence, and the questionable methods of interrogation all cast a shadow of doubt. Were they simply scapegoating a powerful nobleman to settle scores? Was he a pawn in a larger political game? The medieval world was a tangled web of power, intrigue, and superstition, making it difficult to separate fact from fiction. Torture, rape, and ritualistic killings. The details are gruesome, nauseating, and shockingly detailed in the trial transcripts. His confessions, extracted under duress undoubtedly, yet still chillingly specific, implicated him in the deaths of over 140 children. But were these confessions entirely truthful? Were they the product of a broken man, desperate to appease his tormentors, or a genuine accounting of his crimes? The question of the extent of his guilt, even today, remains fiercely debated. Consider the context. The late medieval period, a time of deep religious fervor and a pervasive fear of the devil. Gilles de Race's dabbling in the occult, his fascination with black magic and necromancy, only served to fuel the flames of suspicion and horror. His trial became a spectacle, a public display of divine justice, a chilling morality play for a superstitious populace. The Church, ever eager to demonstrate its power, seized upon his case as a potent symbol of the dangers of heresy and unchecked ambition. Yet, even in his monstrous deeds, there's a certain grotesque fascination. The legacy of Gilles de Race is not simply one of monstrous crimes. It's a legacy of ambiguity, a haunting reminder of the limitations of historical record, the fallibility of justice, and the enduring power of human darkness. His story continues to resonate because it forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the past and the complexities of human nature. He remains a chilling reminder that the lines between hero and villain, saint and devil, can be blurred and sometimes utterly erased. The true extent of his crimes may never be fully known, leaving us with a lingering sense of unease, a chilling mystery that echoes through the centuries. The ghost of Gilles de Race, the real Bluebeard, still haunts the edges of history, a testament to the enduring power of evil. So, there we have it. We've journeyed through the bizarre tale. Let's recap some of the highlights or lowlights depending on your perspective. Sentient potatoes with a penchant for polka clockwork. Army powered by stolen dreams, a villain with a surprisingly sophisticated understanding of agricultural economics, and a climax involving a surprisingly effective potato-based siege weapon. It's a story that defies easy categorization, veering wildly between the darkly comedic and the downright unsettling. The absurdity of it all, however, shouldn't overshadow the important lesson within. This story, however fantastical, reminds us that history is rarely a neat, linear narrative. It's a chaotic tapestry woven from countless individual perspectives, often contradictory and frequently obscured by the passage of time. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to explore more hidden corners of history, where the truth is often stranger than fiction. To truly understand the past, we must strive to unravel those perspectives, acknowledging the biases, the silences, and the sheer strangeness that often defines the human experience. Baron von Wunderlich's tale, while fictionalized, highlights the danger of accepting a single, dominant narrative, a lesson applicable to far more than just potato-based uprisings. What would history look like if we truly heard the voices of those often overlooked, the sentient potatoes, if you will, the marginalized, the unheard? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts on this bizarre historical interpretation. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to explore more hidden corners of history, where the truth is often stranger than fiction.